As a chaplain serving at Recruit Depot Parris Island at 4th Battalion, I am responsible for the Command Religious Program for our battalion commander. And that entails providing spiritual briefs, making the recruits and the Marines aware of their religious accommodations. In addition, I provide divine worship services. I lead the Protestant service for our recruits in the all-weather training facility. And at times that attendance can be as large as up to 6,000. As a part of the divine worship services, we also do a service for our recruits who are just being picked up for the first time, and we call that our forming day service. And that service is held in the recruit chapel, and it typically will include male and female recruits. That service could be anywhere to up about 1,000 to 1,200 that will be in attendance. We also do a service for our recruits who are being separated from Parris Island that for whatever reason they weren't able to fulfill the process. And so while they're here, we still want to be able to support them spiritually and create a religious atmosphere for them to honor their faith. Other ministry opportunities that are a part of the Command Religious Program include me going out to the field with the recruits and the Marines. And that has included me actually being there with them on the Crucible hikes. It gives me an opportunity to walk around and check in on the recruits and the Marines to see how they're doing. It's not uncommon for the recruits to ask for prayer, and it's always very refreshing that when they ask for prayer, it's not always just for themselves. They're also asking for me to pray for someone else who's struggling through that process. I've also gone out to the range and the rappel tower and the gas chamber, and even at the combat training tank, where typically those are the areas that are sometimes the most stressful for the recruits because there's anxiety about succeeding and passing the qualifications that are required for them to become a basically trained Marine. At the end of the day, I think my ministry is just helping the recruits understand that it's important for them to have a personal, intimate relationship with God. And that is going to be specific to them. And what I always want them to do is to remember that they're never alone. I love the verse Joshua 1:9 where it says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be dismayed or terrified, because the Lord thy God is with thee wherever they go." And just reminding them that even when they are facing their greatest fears, when they have to jump off the rappel tower, that if they remember that they can look to God for their strength and their hope, and they can do this while they're here, and it's a structured, chaotic environment, then when they are in the fleet and they're on missions, on deployment, that they can remember what has gotten them through tough times and that they are never alone. The ministry that I do here at Parris Island, I never would have ever thought that this is what my ministry would have been like once I had decided to accept my call to be a pastor and accept my calling with the AME Church. And I remember going through the Board of Examiners, and we were doing the different classes, having to stand up and preach and give prayers. And I had no idea when I arrived here that I was going to be almost the solo person to lead a worship service. And so that prepared me for being able to lead a worship service that can be as large as 6,000. I used to be a manuscript preacher. I am no longer a manuscript preacher. I just stand up, and I've been able to share with the recruits out of my personal experiences, my personal struggles, because I want them to understand that that I'm accessible and I'm real and I struggle, and that way when they have their struggles that they have something to hold on to realize that they too can overcome their challenges. And I think I had no idea that this would be a part of my ministry, to be able to have a group of young people, male and female, who some came initially because they just wanted to get out of the squad bays and get away from their drill instructors, and over time they developed a personal, intimate relationship with God. And so being able to sit with them and do devotion circles and talk about why do you want to give your life to Christ, and then what does baptism mean to you, and to be able to hear them talk about their own personal testimonies, their personal struggles, and how for a variety of reasons they turned their backs on God, never realizing that it wasn't that God that had left them, but they had left God, and now knowing that through the help of God that they can get through their struggles, they can get through the tests and trials. And here at boot camp, that's a lot. And so knowing that on the other side, when they are being deployed and they're on missions, that they can remember what and how God has been with them through 13 weeks of boot camp, and how God can continue to carry them through the rest of their life.